Let me state this important facet of why we can't dig out of the mud, why we can't get out of this at this point right now. Because people are still in their Democrat and Republican camps. And you look at the people who control the parties, and you look at their actions. Open borders, gun control, more regulation, more taxation, arming our enemies, building up China and North Korea. You look at the real actions of the Republicans and the Democrats, they are almost identical. Almost identical. And so you've got the left and the right. I mean, I've told the so-called left, the bleeding heart, useful idiot left, you guys should love, absolutely love George Bush. The government's exploding in size at every level. He's expanding the Department of Education. He's signing on to the UN and UNESCO to take control of our educational processes. He says he'll sign the new assault weapons ban that's coming up for reauthorization with a ban of all semi-automatic shotguns. Now that's in there, folks. You should love Bush. You should just, he's wonderful. But see, oh no, that's horrible. He's bad. He's one of those right-wing Christians. Folks, the guy goes to Skull and Bones. They put it on national TV. Oh, we caught this ritual on tape with them throat slitting and doing ritualistic murders of women. They claim it's an effigy, just like at Bohemian Grove. They put it on ABC News, and Peter Jennings says, hey, they're just having fun. Then as old men, they go do it at the Grove with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the rest of them. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Democrats hate him. He's the great scourge. You should love him. Gun control, abortion on demand, wide open borders. He says he wants to raise taxes. Got Warren Buffett in there, the big kingmaker, George Shultz, all of them. See, there's no difference. And I've been on so-called conservative talk shows, and they'll go, let me tell you something, Buster. If George Bush has got to compromise and ban semi-automatic shotguns, so be it. You got to work to get things done. I think you're working for the communists, boy. I've had them. I think you're working for the communists, boy. It's the same thing. Congressman Ron Paul did an absolutely amazing thing. He gave a speech on July 10th entitled Neo-Con, where he said the Bush administration is run by Trotskyites. This is Ron Paul. Organized criminals, corporate raiders, and people that promote a system of, quote, entering into evil and a giant controlling welfare state. And this is where the left and right, that is, the establishment types that think they're on the cutting edge of the false political spectrum, this is where they fall down. The left thinks we got to be nice, we got to get these rich people's money and help all these poor people. I mean, that's the loving thing to do. And then the Republicans go, that's horrible, don't do that. Please don't throw me in the briar patch. You know that children's fable? The rabbit really wants to get thrown in the briar patch. That's where he can run away and be safe. Oh no, don't give us big government. The last thing we want is giant mechanisms of control to extract your wealth and to dominate you. That's the last thing we want. Big corporations are the biggest recipient of not just government largesse and corporate welfare, and this crony so-called capitalism. They are now being given governmental powers. And so the left screams, we got to put this fire out these evil right-wingers who aren't even right-wingers. They're statists, they're command and controllers. There is no left or right. We got to put the fire out. Bring a truck of gasoline immediately and spray it directly on it. We got to get more air on this. And so as they clamor and jump up and down and fan the flames, it empowers this juggernaut. The government is nothing but a mechanism. You've got the big central banks that took over last turn of the last century, started printing the money. They own the money machines that print the money. If a country doesn't accept their central banks, the enemy has been involved in terrorism. Giant attack fleets are landing to save them. The whole place is obliterated so the IMF and World Bank can come in and totally enslave the population, and vaccinations can start, and suddenly everybody's sterilized and all the kids have got autism, and we're here to help you. The soldiers are all dying for depleted uranium and sarin and DX in the vaccines. The New World Order, there's certain species of insects that are laid into other living insects, larger insects, and the babies hatch out and eat the inside of it out, and then break it open and fly off, and you just see this dead beetle, this husk laying there. That's what America is. We've got all these eggs in us. They're growing real fast. We're at death point. The country's probably going to die, folks. We're at death point. They're eating us. The New World Order is going to bust out of that, using all our energy to set up the global empire, to smash and destroy and mini-nuke everyone. And in the UN, the EU can stand back and say, we are fighting against these evil right-wing Americans. When in reality, again, the creature that laid the eggs in us is sitting right over there in Europe. You understand this, folks? You understand this? And so it points at us. The system, the beast system, points at America and goes, look at that beetle. It's spinning all over the place and going crazy and fighting everyone. And then when they're done with us, the brood hatches out, total global domination, total enslavement of you and your family. And you'll have Bush is energizing the phony left wing. They're hatching out everywhere. They're going to totally take over. And don't think these leftists are going to care when you're getting drugged off to a camp, having your guns taken. They're going to be cheering, going, finally we defeated them. Finally the UN came to America and stopped this fascist takeover. It feels so good. Shut up. Shut up. We love the UN. And they'll use the UN up too. They said, fine, the UN isn't popular, we'll start some new global organization. Well, NATO's now global, and it's going to be in Israel and Afghanistan and Iraq and North Korea when we take that over. And oh, by the way, if you're not part of this glorious system, they'll just blow something else up again and say, we got to have a national draft of professionals too to work here domestically. It's going to be a draft where everyone serves. Yeah, domestically you can dig ditches or be an engineer or all the auxiliary time. It's compulsory volunteerism. You don't have to volunteer, but after the giant collapse of the banking system, it's the government that puts your 400 multi-pass creds onto the card each month. Fine, you don't want to volunteer. We're all working, and so we're going to cut you off your card if you don't join in to pay for what goes on your multi-pass. They've already announced it. They're going to have 4 grades of ratings. If you have bad credit, you've got a 2nd grade. You're not going to be able to fly unless you pay off the debts. Or at least sign up for a work program to pay them off. After all, we can't have these people who are 18 and have hundreds of credit cards mailed to them on purpose. No, you never pay them back. Once you make money, they don't send you credit cards anymore. We can't have all these lazy people ripping off the credit card companies. It was so hard for the central bankers to add zeros and ones on the computer screens. So I hope you're beginning to realize. At this point, folks, we got to fight them as much as we can. They've laid the eggs, again, all in our torso. And they're already breaking out. Right now, the beetle's kind of going, what's going on here? Because they're busting out right now. Now they're starting to feed. There could be an emergency surgery of some type if enough powerful people weren't totally sold out and decadent to remove them. The country's still badly damaged and would, I don't know if it could survive. But we can prepare for the crash landing. And we can work our tails off to inform and educate people so that as the globalists bring us more terror and more wars to get us behind supporting their system, more resistance will form, and then you will see the defeat of this current phase of evil. There's always going to be another phase of evil that the next generation is going to have to contend with. But this is really for all the marbles. If the globalists win now, if they get their agenda through now, they have stated that they are going to begin accelerated mass extermination programs. I mean, folks, our Library of Congress published, declassified, 1993, 100-page reports with Henry Kissinger's name on it, where they made deals with the Third World. You want IMF and World Bank money? You got to force and sterilize half your women before we give you the money. I mean, they've already been doing stuff like that for years. Millions of men in India, police just drive by, grab you, put you in a truck, cut their testicles off. They don't even cut the tubes. We had over 400,000 women in this country grabbed by CPS and health departments, federally funded, up until the 1980s, and taken off to have their uteruses removed. A lot of times they would have, it gets worse.